Welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. I am Brad. Today we are doing a tier list video of all the NHL teams, and I just want to jump into it because the cool thing about these videos is I have no idea what I'm going to say. I have an idea I have some list of categories, and if you're listening to the audio side, we'll go through the categories. But make sure first, I appreciate you tuning in because we are currently, this is our 30-second video, 30-second podcast in a row that I've done. I'm doing one a day every day for the rest of the year. So I appreciate you tuning in and everything, and let's just jump right into it. So our categories are okay, hit like, subscribe, all that stuff. Put a comment down below, it helps. Give it a rating, all the things that YouTubers say, and like people on podcasts say. So just do that because it actually does help me. Anyways, the categories are Stanley Cup contenders, playoff contenders, wild card contenders. So those are the basic ones, right? And I added two new ones that and rebuilding is another one. But in between rebuilding and wildcard contenders is the planned to be mid contenders. I'd say they're teams that didn't make enough. They don't have like enough established, but they didn't do enough to try and like be an elite team that's in a playoff spot. And there's teams that are they had a bad start and they should start selling, in my opinion. So this is kind of like they're not rebuilding, right? They're just starting off bad and probably just need to do a restart or just start selling because it's going to be hard to claw your way back, or they need to make a big move, fire a coach, and any of those jazz. So just we're about 30-ish games in. Most teams are between 32 in the 30-ish games range. And basically, this is my version of a power ranking, basically. And so we're going to be just kind of jumping into this. And so let's get her started now. So we are starting off with the Colorado Avalanche. So I did not list these out. These are all random. I just picked the tier list and we're going into it. So Colorado, they did plan to be a playoff team, right? But they did have a bad start. Now it was there is a qualifier on this bad start to selling. They had a bad start, but mind you, looking at the standings right now, they are right in the first wildcard spot. And the thing is they did make two moves and they traded both their goalies. So they recognize, hey, not the start that we wanted. We should be dominating our division, and they are not. And then we'll jump into actually Stars, Wild, and Jets are beating them currently. And they're probably looking to be fighting with the Yellow Stars mostly. But what I'm going to say is they're a playoff contender in this case. Actually, I'd say probably a wild card contender right now. But to me, it feels like I want to put playoff contender because the Avalanche, they have like so many good players, but they had so many injuries. So I think I am going to stick with, because I've seen how dominant their the rest of their division is. I'm going to go with wildcard contender for the Colorado Avalanche. Again, Colorado Avalanche, mind you, they are also the only team in NHL history to get rid of both or trade out both their starting goaltenders for the year before Christmas. It's happened like the most recent time it happened was like in the 1990 or early 2000s, 1990s, and I think it happened by the end of the year. But this team was just like, hey, nope, we're getting rid of both of our goalies. Screw this. So moving on to the Chicago Blackhawks. They are still rebuilding. They did a ton of signings this year who have not worked out. They've had to fire their coach. If you look at the standings right now where they're at, they're they have 22 points in 31 games. They're 3-7-0 in their last 10, just not looking great. Connor Bedard is having a good year though, which is nice for him, and that's the goal, right? You want your young kids to be doing really well, and Connor Bedard is definitely doing well. But you look at guys like Bertuzzi's not doing well. I mean, mind you, guys, they're second. The guy with the second most points on the team is Ryan Donato. Like, not a guy that you expect to be like top three. Alex Vlasic, of course, too, like as a defenseman. Like Teuvo Teravainen, Taylor Hall, Nick Foligno, Tyler Bertuzzi, all these guys that they sign or they put into bigger roles are just not working out really well. And it is a bit concerning. I mean, they also brought in like TJ Brody and they have a bunch of young guys who are just not popping off like they should. And I actually said this when Chicago originally drafted Connor Bedard. I actually said it was too early. I said they would nice to have some complimentary pieces that took a year, 2-3 years, so that way you can let the young guys marinate and then eventually bring in the superstar who's just like boom. It's like building the team before getting your like the NFL team before getting your quarterback. You want to build your defense, you want to build your offensive line, and then once you get the quarterback, boom, you're ready to start producing, right? That's my thought process on it as well. Chicago's still rebuilding, having a tough time again. They fired the coach already, so just give you an indication of what's happening. So, I would say the Columbus Blue Jackets. Looking at them, to me they were supposed to be bad, and they're still not doing great. But I think they're definitely exceeding expectations in this case because because I think they're supposed to have Johnny Gaudreau, who passed away. Didn't, of course, that is fortunate. But they're doing better than in my opinion, that they should be. I mean, they're still fourth in the Eastern Conference. So again, it's not like they're doing great or anything. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. They're doing great at home. On the away games, they're just not doing as well. I mean, they are really able to get up for their home games, which is nice to see. But I will say that they're still in the rebuilding. I'm gonna go with rebuilding because again, they just took a big hit, and they also had to trade their defenseman, dude. They traded out David Jiricek to the Minnesota Wild. They got a bunch of pieces back, which is looking promising for them. But again, I'm not super sure that was the right move, because when you look at it, you're trading out the elite player for a couple of pieces, and which is, I understand you're getting some pieces back that looked good. And they do look good. They got a first round draft pick. They got Damian Hunt, I believe it was, and a couple other pieces. Actually, I'll pull it up real quick and just to see where we're at. It was David Jiricek and a 5th round pick for Damian Hunt, a 1st round pick, a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick, and a 2nd round pick. So a lot of pieces there. But mind you, David Jiricek was a 6th overall draft pick. Yeah, 6th overall draft pick in 2022. An elite defenseman. He played in the Czech League, I believe it was. And so you're kind of like, okay, well, are you going to get that type of elite player as well again? And it's doubtful. It is absolutely doubtful that you'll be able to get an elite player like this. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it works out. Again, they're still rebuilding though, so hopefully they can use those pieces to parlay into another player, or they can use those pieces to try and trade for a player like they traded out for Adam Jiricek. So we will see. St. Louis Blues. So I think this is the plan to be mid. They're still in the middle of retool. They have a bunch of old guys. We talked about them the other day. They were just planning on being mid. They weren't going to be an elite team. They didn't make a ton of moves this year. They did just make a move where they did a trade as well. And for some reason, I cannot think of the oh yeah, they traded for Cam Fowler, which is a move, I guess. But mind you, now you have a bunch of old. You have another old defenseman. That's where I was like, okay, you trade out a prospect who wasn't really going to work out long term, and a 2nd round pick for Cam Fowler and a 4th round pick. So I guess they really wanted him but you got another old defenseman. So you have a 32-year-old defenseman, a 31-year-old defenseman, a 33-year-old defenseman, and I'm like, okay, cool. So you picked up another 30-plus-year-old defenseman. I understand they retained some salary, or Anaheim retained some salary, but your back end looks really old and doesn't look like it has a bright future in that case. So to me, they're just planning to be mid. They're not planning on going anywhere. So Boston did plan on being a playoff contender, and surprisingly, they're looking a lot better than I anticipated. I thought they were going to be in the 4th wildcard spot, but currently, they're looking at this. They have 35 points, or by points percentage. Tampa Bay is doing better. But Boston, I think, is going to be in that wild card. They're not a full-blown playoff contender. I would say they're definitely going to be falling at least into the wild card. So I will say that they're not a wild card contender. The wild card contender is someone who is going to probably miss. I guess I could move the Avs up then. I guess. Yeah, I'll move the Avs up then. And mind you, at the start of the year, I did a tier list, and I have a lot of wild card contenders because there's a lot of teams that are on the bubble, right? Teams that if this happens, they make this change. You could totally see it. We kind of have an idea of the direction now that Thanksgiving is passed about what these teams are going to look like. So the Avs, in this case, I will put up to playoff contender because I don't see them missing. I don't see them in the end fighting for a spot. So we're going with the Avs and the Boston Bruins as playoff contenders. Again, they did that big signing of Lindholm in the offseason, and Zadorov. Zadorov and Lindholm aren't working out the way that they wanted them to. But I think everyone kind of suspected that, and they definitely need center help. But I could see definitely Boston being the one that trades for Trevor Zegras, or if there's another center on the block, I can definitely see someone like that being traded to Boston. So Canadians. So there was a planned, to me, they should have, they're bad. they're bad. I mean, they were so they're in the so the Atlantic has 8 teams, right? 4 are like, yep, they're always playoffs, basically. And there's 4 that were all supposed to take a step. That's Detroit, Columbus, Buffalo, and Ottawa Senators. And currently, Ottawa Senators are the only one that are on a heater right now. They've won their last 3. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. So this is the only one that's actually taken a step, and they just jumped into a playoff spot. So I'm gonna say, like, bad start should sell in. Like I'd say they were because they're Canadians were supposed to start rebuilding, or in my opinion, they were still in a rebuild. But they actually had I think they wanted to be better than this. I think they wanted to be mid, but they just had a bad start, and they're just not looking very good. So I think they should start selling. I mean, I just think that was the plan. They're not even going to try and fight for a middle spot. I don't see the Canadians bouncing back and being able to do anything with this. Mind you, they're last in the Eastern Conference with 25 points. To be in a playoff spot right now, you need to have 32. It would just be too hard of a climb for them to do. So I just don't see them bouncing back. So they're saying bad start, should start selling, like, just immediately. So going to the Canucks. So we're talking about the Canucks right now. The Canucks, it's very interesting with the Canucks because you're looking at a team that I thought was going to be better. And I think that was kind of the plan for them too. I was going to do a list of being like, there's like, plan to be good, are good, plan to be good, are mid, plan to be good, are bad, right? Like, and kind of like a nine boxes. Plan to be mid, are good, plan to be mid, are mid, and just kind of what's your expectations for them. With the Vancouver Canucks, I actually thought they were going to be a solid playoff contender. But in this case, I kind of could see them missing just because of the competition in the playoff spots. So I'm going to go with they're going to be a wild card contender because I could see them missing. JT Miller just took a personal leave of absence for personal reason, which is totally okay. I get it, getting in the right headspace and everything. It's hard being on a hockey team. I imagine the travel and everything. Vancouver is not exactly dry either. So Vancouver, I could see there's a wild card contender, and really they took a huge step last year too. So it's kind of surprised to see this fall, especially with everyone that's kind of stepping up. So we'll see. So Vancouver got a wild card contender. The Washington Capitals. This was the plan to be mid, are actually good. This is an amazing team. They're doing phenomenal. It's super surprising. Looking at the standings right now, they're top in the Metro, and actually they're top in the whole Eastern Conference in 29. I mean, their points percentage is phenomenal. They did this only 29 games. They're beating out the New Jersey Devils, who have played 4 more games than the Capitals. Toronto Maple Leafs have played 2 more. Dude, they're just kicking ass. To me, no joke. I'm gonna be super serious on this. Capitals currently are a Stanley Cup contender. Just the way they're doing, they're I don't know how they're so GD hot, dude. I mean, their last 10, they're 8-1-1. Their goal differential, they're putting up a ton of goals. Their goals against is 77. Like, their lowest, they're getting the best goaltending in the Eastern Conference. And looking at the standings or in the West Coast, the only other team that has a better, like, has less goals against are the LA Kings and the Dallas Stars. So when you think LA, or you think, oh well, LA Kings, they have Kemper now, right? Which is fine. Kemper and Riddick, they're okay. Like, those are good goalies. It's just not like, oh, you're not like, those are not the best goalies in the league. That's not a Vasilevsky or a Swayman or a Hellebuck. But then you look at the like Dallas Stars, they're like, oh, Jake Ottinger. Well, that's really good. So honestly, I'm super impressed with the Washington Capitals. Good for them. That's phenomenal. Good for you guys. Moving on to the New Jersey Devils. So New Jersey Devils, to me, I thought we were going to take a huge step, and they're doing well, but they have played a lot more games than other teams. So I kind of see them. Do I see them missing the playoffs? Looking at the Metro, I don't know if I see them missing the playoffs, just because the gap is getting so big. I mean, they're a playoff contender. I don't think they're a Stanley Cup contender, but they're a playoff contender for sure. But yeah, I mean, they're not a Stanley Cup contender because they are good. I mean, the last 10, they're 6-3-1. They're getting better goaltending, of course. Their away record's great. 11-4-0. That's really good. They got double-digit wins in away games, which is huge. I mean, that's like half the battle when you're in the playoffs and everything too. So I'm gonna go with playoff contender. So we're gonna do one more. And Anaheim Ducks, you're rebuilding. We know they're rebuilding because they traded Cam Fowler. They traded out one of their top D, and they also picked up Trouba for like nothing from the New York Rangers, and did them an absolute favor. But yeah, they're rebuilding. Now there is a lot of contention about how the rebuild's going, and a lot of people are very frustrated with it. Pat Verbeek getting there, but I think he hasn't been there that long in the sense that like he's just started to do his moves and everything. I think he's gonna end up moving out. I think he does move Trevor Zegras. I really do. I don't think he wants to, but he did a great job with the Cutter Gauthier trade. He's got a lot of good young prospects, but there's a couple guys that just aren't hitting this year. And I'm wondering what they need to do to shake it up. I guess Greg Cronin is really, really giving the guys a hard time. It's not really working out really well with them. But if we go to their stats and everything, see how everyone's doing. Mind you, they're getting some of the best goaltending in the league, though, I will say. But Troy Terry's doing well. But then after that, it just drops off. Troy Terry has 24 points. The second person is Ryan Strome with 15. So it's similar to the Chicago Blackhawks. It's just not going well. I definitely think they can fire the coach, but like, what's that going to do? Besides, I mean, we'll bring up morale. So I mean, that there is something to that when it comes to rebuilding teams. You don't want to demoralize these kids. So, so with the Anaheim Ducks, I mean, for sure, still rebuilding. So we're going to take a quick break, though. We're going to do a quick ad read, and then we'll jump in, do 10 more teams, a quick ad break, and then we'll head out for the night. So stay tuned to after this break. The 24-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple, like picking a team to win. And, of course, if you're listening to this, you're probably a Red Wings fan. You can definitely bet the puck line, the total, the money line, how many goals are going to be scored, over or under. Example is most of them are coming up is at like 6. So you can be like over 6 goals or under 6 goals. I mean, you can get all the action at Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers. Get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit cpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive award. Bonus bet expires 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. And we are back. And so we're jumping in and seeing the Calgary Flames here. Another team that is super, super hot, just outside of a playoff spot. And to me, this is one of those teams that I thought they planned to be mid or bad, and they would end up selling, but like they're actually looking for a top 6 center right now. So I think I'd see them right now in a wild card. They're as a wild card contender. And so that's where we'll be putting them because they're right outside of a wild card. I mean, they're right behind they're tied with Vancouver Canucks in points. So they're fighting for it. Really, they are, and I love to see that for them. And so we'll see if they end up. I mean, I think they're going to be dropping to a mid eventually, but like they weren't planned to be mid. I think they were planned to be like worse than this, in my opinion. They've had quite a hot start and everything. So moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers. To me, again, the East is so bad. Like people are like teams like, I mean, we'll talk about another team that's in the wild card spot right now. But looking at the Philadelphia Flyers, I can definitely see them. I mean, because it's John Tortorella hockey. He can pull stuff out of guys that they normally can't. But to me, I don't want to say they're planning to be mid because they're going to trade Rasmus Ristolainen. And we know it. It's like almost like a foregone conclusion. If we look at, I mean, I don't even know how many years he's got left because I think, and that's one that like I could see, and they're actually absolutely doing. So look at Rasmus Ristolainen. He has this year and the next 2 years after. He's 30 years old. Yeah, they're gonna try and get rid of him now, in my opinion, because he's a tough guy to play against. I think that they're not gonna be. I'm gonna say they're gonna be playing to be mid because they are gonna sell. Like unlike so in the wild card contenders, We have the Vancouver Canucks and the Calgary Flames. I could see the Calgary Flames making a trade to improve, right? It could be a long-term run. I think they said they're targeting like 24 to 26-year-old center, top six center, because they can use him long-term. So it could be a trade move that helps them in the now and the later, right? Whereas Philadelphia, I think is would love a move like that, but I think that they're more so going to offload assets that aren't going to be here for the long future. Like we just talked about with Rasmus Ristolainen. I think they plan to be mid. They may fight for a wild card, but to me, they miss because they're going to sell at the deadline, and that's planning to be mid. That's a mid thing to do, because you're not trying to be bad, but you're not actively trying to be good. So that's I think they're planning to be mid in that case. Vegas Golden Knights, I thought they would take a step back, but really, when you look at the guys that they did, I mean, they're just killing it by like 42 points in 31 games, leading for first in the Pacific right now. And I don't know why. Vegas is like the Boston Bruins. You're like, oh man, like I thought you were gonna be worse, and you're phenomenal. You're still very good, and it's more so that you're like, oh, they didn't make a lot of acquisitions this summer. Yeah, it's because they did a lot of stuff at the trade deadline last year. They traded for an injured Tomas Hertl from the San Jose Sharks. They traded for a Noah Hannafin, signed him to eight years, right? And these are all guys that they brought in, and they're like, okay, we're gonna have these guys. We'll have these guys long term. So these guys are absolutely a Stanley Cup contender right now because they're just nailing this right now. They're just a nail gun right now, and people need to really be fearing Vegas because the way they go all in is just phenomenal. It's good for the game, in my opinion. I don't like it's similar to New York. They will get rid of guys really easily, but to me, like they just do a really good brand of hockey where they just play hard, play tough, and they're willing to do anything to win. And you gotta respect it, man. You gotta respect that they're willing to do anything to win. So, good for Vegas being Stanley Cup contenders. Talking about the Carolina Hurricanes, I kind of had this contention with the Washington Capitals because Carolina is doing well. They're not doing amazing, but they are doing well. In their last 10, they're 5-5 though. 21 goal differential. The one issue they have right now is that they are struggling with goaltenders. One of the, you have, I look at their goaltending right now. I'm going to pull it up. They have a guy who had a surgery. Freddie Anderson had a surgery and he'd be out. They had Peter Kochetkov, who was on concussion protocol because he got ran into by a player. And then you have Spencer Martin, who actually looks like, is Freddie Anderson back already? No way. Oh, look at him, dude. That's awesome. I'm looking at the Puckpedia right now. I didn't think he was back right now, but looks like he may be back. And then Peter Kochetkov and then Dustin Tokarski as well. So actually, no. Freddie Anderson's not back. I apologize. Freddie Anderson isn't. Freddie. Oh my goodness. Let me swallow my spit for a second. Freddie Anderson is not back. He won't be back till February. Peter Kochetkov, again, I think he's not playing either because he have a concussion protocol and everything. And then for their goalies right now, they have Spencer Martin, who they picked up on waivers like a long time ago, and Dustin Tokarski. Dustin Tokarski just had he played his first game today and actually won. First time he's won in like the last since like February of 2023 in the NHL, which is amazing. You just love to see that for the kid. And my kid, I mean the 35-year-old, older than me. So good for him. But I'm going to say they are a playoff contender. I have doubts on the Carolina Hurricanes. To me, they're always just like a second round team, and I just don't have them as a Stanley Cup contender because I just don't see. I mean, goaltending can be addressed. You can be trade for someone, and I definitely think there'd be someone that the Red Wings look to trade Alex Lyon to, who, by the way, he used to play for them, and so actually he won with the Charlotte Checkers, which is right over by Raleigh. So, I could definitely see them trading for a actual goalie. That is definitely a team that I can see, and I think it's just because you have Freddie Anderson, you have Kochetkov, but again, you probably want to just bring in someone that's just a little bit like as the extra, right? Tokarski and Spencer are fine. Since Spencer Martin are fine, but like you want guys that have been reliable in net. So we'll see. Moving on to the New York Islanders. So with the New York Islanders, we are mid. I mean, to me, I think they thought that they were going to be that they were going to be better. Actually, I think they planned to be mid, but to me, they did have a bad start because they have one of the worst penalty kills and one of the I think at this point they're the 32nd in power play and penalty kill. Looking at team stat, they're power play, they're both 32nd and they're 32nd in power play and penalty kill. So to me, it's just too hard to kind of get those things going. I mean, it's a bad start. I think they just should sell. I mean, I think they're going to sell anyways because they have a guy like, dude. I mean, really, like to me, they should sell. They absolutely should sell. They're 4-4-2. They're just not looking good. They're so mid. They're just so. Actually, I mean, I'm gonna put a plan to mid. They should start selling. They are still mid. If they can get the power play and the penalty kill going, cool, but like I think it's too late. But I think they're just planning to mid because they didn't really do any moves. They signed Anthony Duclair, who, by the way, is injured and out. So to me, the Islanders are just going to, they're just mid, dude, at this point. So moving on to the Winnipeg Jets. I don't want to kind of rip through this thing. It's taking me a little longer, so I apologize. So we're gonna Winnipeg Jets, Stanley Cup contenders. Boom, bam, bop. They are leading the league right now, 45 points. I mean, they're killing it. 45 points in 32 games. A plus 36 goal differential as well. The only one that's beating them is the Washington Capitals with plus 38. Mind you, they got Connor Hellebuyck, and they had a phenomenal hot start. In the last 10, they're only 4-5-1. So they're struggling a little bit recently. But I still, I mean, how do I feel? Am I contentious? I don't know if they can. Okay, so my issue is are they a playoff? I'm looking at the standings and I'm like, so I'm looking at my goal is I want one team. You can't have multiple Stanley Cup contenders in a division, right? And I'm looking at, I can't be like, oh yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights, LA Kings, and Edmonton Oilers are all Stanley Cup contenders, right? Because they had to fight each other. So to me, I'm looking at the Winnipeg, like the Central and everything, and I am gonna say Winnipeg is. I'm gonna go playoff contender. I think they have a phenomenal goalie, and you can absolutely ride a hot goalie to the Stanley Cup Finals. I.e. Carolina Hurricanes and Cam Ward. But to me, I think my gut says playoff contenders because I do have a different team in there that I want to put as their Stanley Cup contenders. And you know what? I'm gonna jump the shark in this case, because they are currently at the bottom of this list. I'm putting the Minnesota Wild as Stanley Cup contenders. There's teams that I talk about like with vibes. They just have good vibes. Florida, good freaking vibes. Florida Panthers have great vibes. Nashville last year, great vibes. They had great vibes. Vancouver had good vibes as well too, right? Dallas Stars had a really good vibe in the last couple of years. Like there's just teams that have good vibes. Minnesota has really good vibes right now. Especially with they're holding their own. They're 1 point behind the Jets and have one game in hand. I mean, they're getting good goaltending. They're getting as good of goaltending as the Jets right now. And by the way, and this is the crazy thing is Minnesota is going to be so good because they have $14 million of dead cap that they can't use, which is crazy. That's like 2 superstars. That's one Leon Draisaitl that they could sign. And they're in their last 10. They're 7-3-0. So 7 wins, 3 losses, and 0 ties. And so, I mean, Kaprizov is the only thing that's holding together, but it's kind of like the Oilers where you're like, man, I don't know if Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid can just pull these guys to a winning team. And you're like, well, they're doing it. They're pulling the rest of the shit bags around, and Kirill Kaprizov is doing that as well. 47 points in 30 games. I mean, it's phenomenal. Currently in points, he's tied for 4th in the league. So this kid's crazy. 27-year-old, he's gonna get paid so much money. It's honestly it's unfair. So, but we're going to jump into the. But yeah, I got the Minnesotas. They're Stanley Cup contenders right now. I mean, they just look so hot. They look hot. Moving on to the LA Kings. I was down on the LA Kings for sure. I thought they planned to be mid. To me, they are doing phenomenal. I mean, they're doing good. They're second in the Pacific. So, and they're 8-2-0 in their last 10. That's pretty good. They're getting great goaltending too. Again, it's Kemper and what's his face? I can't even think of his name. I just said it. Riddick, right? Those are their two goalies, right? Or no, they have Phoenix Copley too. But is he playing a ton? Let's look. They got Dave Rittich is leading their team. Dude, Dave Rittich has the most starts in 18 games. Then you have Darcy Kemper, and Darcy Kemper is doing the best. And then Eric Portillo as well had played a phenomenal game. Holy smokes, good for him, dude. And then yeah, dude, that's impressive. So, anyways, they have Phoenix Copley, of course, who's just a backup goalie, and then but Dave Rittich is doing. I mean, why is he the best goalie on the St. Louis or the LA Kings? I mean, to me, that they're a gut still says wild card contender. I know I'm looking at the standings. I'm looking at them at the second wild card spot. Who beats them out? Does Edmonton eventually get? Edmonton's getting hot too. They're on a 5-game winning streak, 8-2-0 in the last 10. And you know Edmonton's going to make moves. Who in the Pacific is going to take them out? Are the Vancouver Canucks going to get hot enough to knock out the LA Kings? I don't know. I don't think so. The Kraken won't. I mean, I think it maybe. I guess they are. I mean, by the other teams around them, they're actually a playoff contender, because no one's going to be good enough to knock them off. So they're not going to be fighting for the wild card, really. Yeah. So dang, it's crazy. That's pretty crazy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are on the LA Kings, because I'm feeling I'm a skeptic, dude. I'm a natural skeptic when it comes to these LA Kings, because I just don't trust what's happening with the rebuild and everything. Jump into the Seattle Kraken, planned to be mid. I don't have to look at the standings of that one. I just knew they were planning to be mid because you signed two mid players, in the sense you sign a Chandler Stevenson, who is good. He's not amazing. He is a good hockey player. He's just not like hit it out of the park. And they gave him a 7x7, $7 million a year for 7 years, as well as they give the same thing to Brandon Montour. If you look at where they land on the charts, you're like, okay, you get 21. You're actually crazy enough. You're getting 21 points in 31 games out of Chandler Stevenson, which is about what you paid for. And you're getting 20 points out of 31 games for Brandon Montour, which is about what you paid for. So you got exactly what you paid for, but you didn't buy the top of the line guys. Like, you just bought guys that to fill in spots, which is, again, by the way, they're both 30 years old. So you're looking at guys who are getting 7-year contracts who are 30 years old, and you're like, okay, like, it's a lot of money for guys that are like not going to be the full movers and shakers. But these guys, I think the plan is to fill in guys around these young kids and let them slowly come up. Like, so you had Manny Beniers as number one center, and that's a lot of pressure for a guy who is so young. I mean, Manny Beniers just signed a 7-year contract in the last year. He's a number 2 overall pick. He's just 22 years old. Like, hey, let him slowly grow. Put Chandler Stevenson as the number 1 center. Let Manny Beniers play second line center, and then that way he can grow, play against worse competition, gain his confidence, gain his skill set, and everything. And mind you, it's just, you don't want to hurt the guy's development, and it's hard to develop in the NHL. So just let the guy like slowly get into it. They plan to be mid, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. And Joey Daccord looks phenomenal. Bummer he won't be able to play for Canada, but he looks phenomenal right now. Looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning, to me, I thought they'd be mid, and they kind of are. They're still in that wild. They're still fighting for a wild card. They have 34 points in 28 games. They're 6-4-0 in the last 10, and of course they're getting good goaltending, because you know who they got? Andrei Vasilevsky. Only let 82 games in. The team's only let in 82 goals this year. They're looking at some of the best goaltending in the Eastern Conference, besides Toronto Maple Leafs, which is crazy, and the Washington Capitals, which is, again, also crazy. So you're like, oh, best goaltending is going to come on from Toronto and the Capitals? Okay, yeah, right. So I'm going to say that they are a wild card contender right now. They are certainly a wild card right now, and I don't know. They Andrei Vasilevsky can get hot, and I understand that, but to me, I just don't know if their team they're starting to get a little older. Mind you, they picked up Jake Gensel. I mean, you have a guy like Nikita Kucherov playing phenomenal. Braden Point's 1.5 per game, which is crazy. Brandon Hagel is 35 points in 28 games. I mean, maybe I'm doubting them. Maybe they're a playoff team. Are they? Am I the crazy one? For sure, I am the crazy one. But I think I'm gonna go wild card contender because I just see them. I can see them struggling. I could see a team like Ottawa getting hot and taking them down, and we are kind of seeing that because Ottawa is right behind them in the wild card spot, and they're starting to pick up the steam. They're 7-2-1 their last 10, the 3-game winning streak. They're starting to pick it up. So we will see. I'm gonna stick with wild. My gut says wild card contender, so I'm gonna go my gut there, and we'll leave it at that. Atlantic Division. I'm going. Do I want to do my Stanley Cup contender already? Do I do it? Do I break my rule? I don't know. I can't break the rule. I mean, I'd say Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they're playoff contenders. Again, it's based on gut feel, and gut feel is the reason I say gut feel is because it's half based on what I think might happen and what I've seen in the past, and I've seen Toronto play really well. I think they're a playoff team for sure. They have phenomenal stars, but when it comes to playoffs, I don't trust them yet, and so I'm going with Toronto as a playoff contender because I don't think they're a Stanley Cup contender yet. And by the way, I would love to be proved wrong. I would love to see Steve Dangle see them in the playoffs, and so I would say let them go. I think they're fine as a playoff contender. They're not my Stanley Cup contenders out of the Atlantic, but we will hit. I will tell you my Stanley Cup contender for the Atlantic after the break. So stay tuned to Undrafted Hockey Fan. You know what that sound is? That's the sound of ice skates skating on the ice at your favorite team's hockey game. There's nothing like the excitement of being at a game, the crowd, the energy, the roar, the chants, the songs. It's just so much to it. And the best way you're going to be able to find an amazing seat and an amazing game is going to be at Game Time. Game Time also has this new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff and shows you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. And my wife and I were actually end up going to a Detroit Red Wings game on December 2nd, I believe it is. That's one that we're looking at, and talk about a super deal. And you can actually find any concert tickets there. You can do comedy. There's so many different options there. They also have curated deals to make it easier to find the best deals on great seats. And also you can see the view of your seat before you buy. They have a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection as well. One thing I really enjoy about it is the all-in pricing. Toggle this feature to show the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. So you can also get a panoramic, again, talking about your view, it's a panoramic view. You can see the sea, not just like looking at the stage. You get the full panoramic view. And they also have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And so take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Game time it is. We're going into the tier list, and we got a couple more teams left, and we'll head out for the night. Heading up, I teased you with the Atlantic Division 1, and we'll skip the Oilers to tell you about them. Atlantic Division winners, contenders, Stanley Cup contenders, is the Florida Panthers. I mean, surprise, surprise, they won the Stanley Cup last year. Of course, you have the Stanley Cup people who went to the Stanley Cup as the contenders, and we saw this with Tampa Bay a couple of years ago. Tampa Bay they went really far. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals. They worked super hard, and then during the season they let the gas off. They're like, "Hey, like we don't have to try as hard." I apologize for the yawning. It's 1:20 in the morning, so gotta get this podcast out though. And so the Florida Panthers, to me, are taking their foot off the gas, and so I'm like, okay, well, they're just going to take it a little easier and ride into a second spot in the Atlantic, and they're okay because then they'll verse the third team, who they'll beat anyways because they're beating in the regular season. So to me, the Panthers are just a team that is kind of phoning in for the rest of the year, and they're just going to kind of coast. They're just going to coast, and they'll start to turn on in like April and start to really when the trade deadline happens, and then they'd say, okay, we're going to get our stuff together because we got to figure out how to work together as a team, and that's how a lot of teams should do it because it's a long season. So we'll see. what happens with that. I'm going to the Oilers. Oilers are a playoff contender, and they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. They are not my team that goes all the way though. Oilers are playing super well, but when you look at a team like Vegas, who is just so dominant right now, I'm kind of like, okay, I understand the Oilers are good, and the Oilers had like a bad start, and I'm like, okay, I can understand that, but like to me, you're just not a Stanley Cup contender right now because you had to prove it to me all season. And mind you, we'll do this again later in the season, around the halfway game mark. This is basically my power rankings. So basically do this every 10 games, and so we'll see, hey, how I'm feeling, man. So to me, I just see the Oilers. I mean, they're good. I just don't know if they're the full blown. There's just too many holes in the team. And I'm looking at like goaltending, backup goaltending. I'm like, okay, you have Calvin Pickard, who is playing surprisingly well for them. And you have like Stuart Skinner. Is Stuart Skinner? He played well last year, all the way up into the Stanley Cup Finals. But is he a guy you can rely on long term? Is he the guy? Right. And so Calvin Pickard, by the way, has a better save percentage and a better goals against average than Stuart Skinner. Mind you, Stuart Skinner is doing better, like has better competition. So he's playing against harder teams, I imagine, and has played more games. So, but again, goaltending is definitely one they're going to be looking to upgrade for the Edmonton Oilers. So we'll see. But they're a playoff contender right now. They're good. There's too many holes right now, and that's where I'm like, okay, we'll see. So Pittsburgh Penguins, they planned to be mid. They just didn't do enough again this offseason. They made a good move. The Philip Tomasino move was good. Again, I would have picked up. If I were them, I would have picked up Oliver Wahlstrom, who the Islanders just waived, one of their first round draft picks, and he's now on Boston. But again, that's a guy I would take a flyer on because, like, hey, like young guy who used to be good and might work out, and he's free, right? So might as well try him out. And I'm surprised they didn't. Did they even have a cap space to do it? I mean, because to me, again, if you're Pittsburgh, I don't know why you don't try throwing mud at the wall. Of course, they have the cap space. They could have done it. They could have traded someone, dude. Like, I don't know what they're doing. That would have been an easy one for me. So I can't believe they passed up on him, and Boston got him instead. So we'll see. Anywho, move on to our next spot. So we're going to the Nashville Predators. Bad start, should start selling. Absolutely, they are not good. Too bad to start. Too bad. They're just so bad. It's just a kind of a like what happened, dude? This is so, and I usually have like a what the fuck stage. What happened to Nashville Predators? They're tied for the worst in the league with the Chicago Blackhawks. They did all these moves, and they're like, dude, they've won win in the last 10 games. I'm just like, oh, breaks your heart, dude. And like their guys aren't playing good. Their guys are just not putting up enough points. Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg are leading the team. But like, if you look at Steven Stamkos, 16 points in 31 games. That's not what you pay Steven Stamkos for. He's $8 million player. Marchessault, 18 points, 31 games. Not what you pay him for. Like, these guys should be playing so much better. They should absolutely be selling. And I don't know what they're thinking, but they are just bad. And I think you just kind of call it this year. They have 3 first-round draft picks. Don't use them to trade for guys because the guys haven't deserved for the team to try and improve. Like, just call the year, sell off some guys, and like get some more first-round draft picks. Draft a bunch of good guys that'll be good in the future, so that when Stamkos is gone and Marchessault is gone, they're like, okay, we got more guys now. We're good. So that's my opinion. Rangers are such an interesting case study. They're now two spots out of a wild card spot right now. They have to beat the Flyers, and they got to knock out the Ottawa Senators as well. I mean, it's so interesting because it's like you just signed your goalie to a 8-year contract. You traded out your captain. Vibes are really low, and I don't know if Rangers can pick it back up. To me, and by the way, this is the former President's Trophy winners last year, and this is my thought process is I think because James Dolan and all them ruined the vibes, and Chris Drury, I think they should start selling. They had a bad start. They should start selling, and kind of got called this year. Like, still try, but like sell off guys. Like, get a reset, do a quick retool for this year, and then boom, next year you're good. Like to me, like you start improving. Like again, who are you gonna try and beat? Like if you make the playoffs, you got to beat out a hot Washington, a good Jersey Devils, a good Carolina Hurricanes, like, or you verse like a Toronto Maple Leafs, or I mean you get in a wild card spot, like you're unfortunately versing a Toronto Maple Leafs or like a Washington Capitals who are hot. Like just like why bother, but like look at what's the smart move. What's the smart long-term move? And Rangers got good prospects. They have like Gabe Perreault, who's coming up as well. Like you have like good guys that are going to be coming up, but like why don't you just like save them for for next year? I'm curious on how long Gabe Perreault is going to be, because he should be up here soon. He's a very good prospect. Looking at their system, look at their forwards real quick. You have like Brennan Ottman. Where's Gabe Perreault? Where you at, bro? Where you, bro? Where you at? I don't know if they signed him yet. Maybe not. Oh, they haven't signed him yet. That's surprising. He's like a really good player. So Brennan Ottman, just to give you an idea, he was a first round pick in 2021, 16th overall for them. And with the Hartford, he got injured. Dang. He only played 3 games, but he had 5 points in the AHL. So like but then he got injured. So going to Gabe Perreault again, their pick from 2023. Looking at his stats real quick in the NCAA, 23 points in 16 games with Boston College, like a point and a half a game for kind of kid. Like, dude, good for him, dude. Like, get him up, dude. So, Rangers again, call it this year, sell some guys, get rid of Zibanejad if you really want to. Like, just I don't know, like it's a little crazy. So, let me know what your thoughts are on what the Rangers should do, because I'm a little nervous for them. So, Red Wings, bad start, should start selling. To me, they didn't make. I was skeptical. I was like, okay, you bring in Tarasenko, I could see that being good. Is Kane going to be the same? I was skeptical of that. Gustafsson is skeptical of that. Like, I was like, okay, like people are telling me, Gustafsson's supposed to be like a Shane Gostisbehere replacement, and it's not working out. Jeff Petrie had a goal and an assist, or 2 assists yesterday, though. That's crazy. Is it a goal and assist or a goal and it was a goal and an assist, I think. Anyhow, but like you have like, but you're getting great. They're getting great goaltending. The young kids are looking really good. It's just like you're not there yet. It's kind of like what I was just talking about with Seattle. Seattle has some guys they're filling in, but they're letting the young guys kind of cook. The Red Wings have a great first line, great top pair, which are young guys, and their actual core in DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond, and then you have Seider, Edmonton. But to me, like everything else is kind of like they're old contracts. They're going to be out eventually. And mind you, Eisman has, I think, 5 guys that he's drafted on the team: Raymond, Seider, Casper. Those are your forwards. Oh, and then they have Raymond, Casper, Seider, Berggren was a Holland. Never mind. Raymond, Casper, Seider, Johansson, Edmonton. He has 5 guys that he's drafted that Eisman actually physically drafted on the team. So like this is just starting to get Eisman's touch. People that are calling for his head are crazy. You don't know how rebuilds go. It's not like the NFL where Lions drafted Terry Arnold this year, and then he's on the team. He's on their secondary. Like he's their safety. So like it's just, to me, it's crazy. So Buffalo Sabres, again, another team started bad, are doing so bad right now. They're 0-10 right now. It is tough sliding for them. There's not 0-10. They're 0-7-1. So they've gotten 3 points in their last 10 games, but they're all overtime losses. They're second last in the Atlantic, or in the Eastern Conference. They're just not having a good time. It's tough, man. It is tough. So they just lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs today. So that is tough. So I don't know much to say. I'm going to do a breakdown of the Buffalo Sabres and kind of their last 10 games tomorrow. But today we're just going to say they should start selling. Just start selling, guys. Or bring in a vet, right? Whatever you need to do. So the Ottawa Senators are, I didn't think this, but they are currently a wild card contender right now. They're in the last wild card spot. They beat out Philadelphia for it. And I can see them, they're doing really hot right now. It just takes some momentum right now. It just takes a little bit of energy to get that chugga train going. They're 7-2-1 their last 10. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're getting goaltending now. All Mark looks like he's getting comfortable again. And mind you, he signed a contract for the next 4 years too. So hopefully he stays comfortable. But Ottawa's looking like a wild card contender, and they could fight to the end. I can see them making a move. Supposedly Josh Norris is on the trade block, but I think that's kind of silly of them to trade for them. Again, another team that I could see Boston or New York Rangers trading for him. Dude, Boston would have like killed for Norris. If you just take a straight up Norris for Allmark trade, that would have been nuts for them. But I think I don't think they're going to trade Norris, in my opinion. He's on a massive contract, and he's going to work out long term. So, San Jose Sharks did a ton of UFAs signings, but San Jose Sharks are rebuilding. I think they were probably in on the Trouba because it's like, hey, it's a free asset. But Anaheim Ducks picked it up. That's easy one. They had a lot of good UFA signings, and Macklin Celebrini is looking like a monster. Big fan of him. I'm excited for him to start playing long term, and it's adorable. They just did so him and Macklin Celebrini, their first overall draft pick, and Will Smith, their fourth overall draft pick, went to a Golden State Warriors game, and you're like, oh man, cool. Show off both guys. They're gonna be stars of this team, and they just showed off Macklin Celebrini. So I was like, ooh, bummer, guys. Bummer for Will Smith. But again, Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith are going to tear up this league for a long, long time. So Dallas Stars and Utah left. So we'll start with the Dallas Stars. Finish off we already finished the Eastern Conference. So Dallas Stars are currently third in the Central Division. They are struggling a bit. They are getting great goaltending, but they're just not able to put up the points. Some guys that you thought were going to be popping off that were supposed to be, you're looking at like a Logan Stankoven. You're looking at like Jason Robertson. I mean, Robertson has 19 points, 29 games, just having not a great year this year. Stankoven is 16 points in 27 games. Like he's just, again, not hitting as hard. Wyatt Johnson is 17 points in 29 games. Again, everyone is underperforming on the Stars, except for Matt Duchene, a UFA signing, a guy he's leading them in points, goals, and assists. That's phenomenal. I mean, he's a great signing. But mind you, Tyler Seguin did get hurt, who was having a phenomenal year, 20 points in 19 games. He got a surgery to take care of something and he timed it so that he could come back for the playoffs. So we will hopefully see Tyler Seguin later this year. But to me, they're just kind of like holding on for dear life right now. And hopefully the young guys start to produce. I mean, even Harley, like I said, Haskinen's not playing as well. Jesus, dude. Team's not doing that great, especially for holding a third wildcard spot. Like you think that this team would be performing a little bit better, but again, the competition is not as great. It's them or like Colorado right now. So, and Colorado was definitely going through it as well. I'm going to say that they are a playoff contender right now. I think they're going to get their stuff back. I think that it's a vibes thing right now. I think that they need to just do a little shake up, bring in someone that's going to be fun. I think this would be they're a playoff contender in my opinion. They're not going to be fighting for a wild card spot. So we'll see them kind of go down the stretch with it. So last team, the Utah Hockey Club. Again, a team that I think they plan to be mid, but they're actually doing a little better. I think they could be a wild card contender right now. And I'm saying that because I'm looking at the standings right now. They're just outside with the Calgary Flames at 33 points in 30 games. And Canucks are holding that spot with 35 points. Utah could fuck around and find out. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10. Looking at some of their stats of those young guys, I mean, they have some guys that are starting to perform. You got 29 points by Dylan Gunther. Love to see the young guys start to perform. Captain Clayton, 28 points in 30 games. Logan Cooley's starting to pop off. Nick Schmaltz, like Mikhail Sergachev, they traded for this defenseman this past summer. He's playing 25.5 minutes a night, which is nuts, dude. I mean, overall, they're performing well. And goaltending, are they getting good goaltending? They are getting good goaltending from Karel Vejmelka. Connor Ingram's having a little bit of struggle bus this year. But that if they can maybe shore up some goaltending, they have their young goaltender in here, and he has 2 wins already. Jackson Stober, I have not heard of him before. 25-year-old. Oh, I guess I would say young. He's 25 years old, 6'3", 174 pounds. Geez, that's a tall guy and not a lot of weight. Jesus. So good for them. If they can get a little bit better goaltending from Ingram, this could really work out for them. So anyway, so here we got the standings here. So again, we'll just do a quick review. Stanley Cup contenders: Capitals, the Washington Capitals, Vegas Golden Knights, Minnesota Wild, and Florida Panthers are my top 4 from each division. Playoff contenders: Boston, Colorado, New Jersey, Carolina, Winnipeg, LA Kings, Toronto, Oilers, Dallas. Wildcard contenders, people that are going to be fighting for the wildcard spots to the end. We got 4, 8. Okay, we got about 8. We have the Vancouver Canucks, the Calgary Flames, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Ottawa Senators, and the Utah Hockey Club. They plan to be mid. I don't think they're going to be going for playoffs either. St. Louis Blues, Winnipeg, Philadelphia Flyers, New York Islanders, Seattle Kraken, Pittsburgh Penguins, again, plan to be mid. Bad start, should start selling. Canadiens, Nashville, New York Rangers, Red Wings, and the Buffalo Sabres, as well as rebuilding category: Chicago, Columbus, Anaheim, and the San Jose Sharks. So let me know what your thoughts are. I appreciate all your thoughts. And yeah, stay tuned for the next video. We'll be doing another one tomorrow, and catch you in the next one. Love you. Bye.